it's going to be Camp Cape. I was so excited. I was like, let's put them all in a hotel. It's a reality show.
Parahuman Olympic Village.
Great.
Like... Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Plague 12.2. It was actually kind of disastrous as a chapter.
Ooh.
Did not go well at all. Thanks, Hookwolf.
I know.
What a loser.
Yeah.
Except for how he was a winner here, I
and
guess.
Thanks, Coil.
Well, Coil's trying to cover for himself. All of these people are only serving Coil, so if he has to hurt himself to maintain his cover, that's fine, right?
Wow. You're giving Coil the benefit of the doubt more than Taylor, but I think we can talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, Coil is bad at many things, but he does seem to be a good strategist, so...
Interesting. Yeah. Potentially a good take.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, do you want to hear what happened in this?
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Okay. So Taylor finally gets on a boat.
She's on a boat, and she's going fast, and...
That's about it. That's the whole chapter. So yeah, they're not on the ocean. They're on two little motorboats. One boat has Gru and Bitch and her dogs, including a mysterious puppy that Taylor's like, why is there this puppy on a leash? Doesn't seem like Bitch's
Not exactly
type.
Good for our rep to have a puppy, but it's weirdly aggressive.
Cute, but skittish and aggressive. The rest of them are on the other boat, and they're not going on the ocean. They're going on the lake that Leviathan created in the middle of the town. They're going towards a building in the middle of the lake where it seems like the roof is close to water level. So everyone's just meeting on this roof, and the idea is that it will be hard for people such as the Slaughterhouse 9 to approach them without being seen in this location. So they get there. There are a bunch of villain gangs. The Chosen are already there, and so are Fault Line's crew. Taylor notices that the Chosen seem like they have a bunch of scratches and other injuries that are still healing. Fault Line's crew is covered up more than usual, and Gregor has some exposed skin that looks tender. So, there's people have taken a beating.
But no one died. Cricket's here.
Cricket's here. I did notice that. Yeah, no known deaths here. The merchants approach on a boat that seems really loud, but apparently Squealer, who is a tinker, made this boat that is really loud when you're close to it, but undetectable at other distances. She seems to be the opposite of Armsmaster, is Taylor's assessment. She can only make things that are really big and loud. Skidmark and Fault Line kind of go at it a little bit. Skidmark's like, how could you attack us? And Fault Line's like, that's what we do. And takes issue with Hookwolf for inviting the merchants. And Hookwolf's like, he has 9 powers. And hey, we don't fight amongst ourselves, he says, hypocritically.
There's a lot of that in this chapter. It's great.
He's the worst. Very annoying. I feel like people, I'm just editorializing now, but there's a distinction between like, oh yeah, I can recognize that this character is like objectively awful. And, oh, this character is like getting in the way of my protagonist. And the second is like so much more visceral. I'm like, Hookwolf is messing with Taylor. Anyway, we'll get there. The travelers arrive. Trickster, Sundancer, and Ballistic on the back of some kind of turtle serpent. They each have their own turtle serpent.
It's like a Lapras.
What?
It's a Pokemon.
Oh,
it's a
cool.
Pokemon.
Okay, of course.
It's a Pokemon.
All right. And Taylor's like, I can't make out Genesis's form. Weird. I would detect her with bugs, but she's like kind of naked, and that seems weird, so...
It didn't stop her from learning about Loong's junk. On the other hand, I guess that was so traumatizing.
No,
she really refuses to put bugs on the naked body again.
She was like trying to incapacitate Loong. She's just trying to investigate. Yeah. So probably her lines are
this
different.
This is also, we're slowing down the summary, but it was
okay.
Funny
People
that
probably love long summaries.
Total surveillance. She at least tries to keep the bugs on clothes in the hope that they won't be a bother, but also that so that they aren't noticed. But at least people aren't like actually having cockroaches crawling on their skin every 5 minutes.
Yeah, only occasionally. Then Coil arrives, and Purity was kind of floating in the air doing these light signals. Each group had their own set of signals they needed to flash her. But once everyone arrives, she sets down, and then Fog and Crusader and Night step onto the building. Night was in the lake, presumably in her monstrous form, because no one could have seen her there in the darkness. So all the groups are there. And Hookwolf's like, not quite everyone, and another boat arrives, and it's the good guys, Miss Militia, Battery, Triumph, Weld, and Clockblocker.
Yay!
And Miss Militia's like, it seems we have a problem, and Hookwolf's like, actually, we have two, and then proceeds to completely derail everything in an attempt to take down the Undersiders and the Travelers, which unfortunately is a very successful attempt. He points out to everyone that the members of the Travelers on the Undersiders have been basically splitting up the city and claiming territories. And Miss Militia's like, yeah, we know they're taking territory. And Hookwolf's like, no, they're taking the city. And they're using the distraction of the 9 to gain more territory while we're all distracted. And he's like, kind of right that they're taking the city. He's kind of wrong about the 9, as they try to point out to him, but...
He's right that the 9 are here, but the plan existed before anyone knew
the plan has nothing to do with the 9. But he is trying to use the danger of the 9 to get everyone else to turn on the Undersiders and Travelers, and he does. He's basically like, we need you guys to cede your territory while this happens. You can all stay in a hotel or something. And the Undersiders and Travelers point out that then you would just take everything. Like, you'd be giving yourself an advantage. Why would we do that? And Coil's like, I'm inclined to agree with Hookwolf. And he tells everyone about the danger to the world from Jack Slash if he is not killed before he leaves Brockton Bay. Miss Militia says, you contacted us with this information previously. We want to know your sources. Do you have any more information? He's like, I do have more information. Jack Slash is the catalyst, not the cause. He kills, talks to, meets, or influences someone, which causes a chain of events to occur, leading to the deaths of anywhere from 33 to 96% of the world's population. And Weld says, Dinah Alcott. And Coil's like,
what?
Beg pardon?
What?
And Weld basically presents what happened. He's like, yeah, this 12-year-old girl was kidnapped. Police haven't found her. She had been complaining of headaches and had told her friend she could see the future. And Coil's like, I did not kidnap her. I offered her training and relief from the drawbacks of her abilities on the contingency that she immediately cut off all contact with her family and friends and provide me a year of service. Taylor is like, wow, he's really just lying about this. And Coil's like, let's focus on what's important. Jack Slash must die or we all die. And Hookwolf's like, yeah, okay, so the Undersiders and Travelers need to do what we want. And Trickster's like, okay, but why would we go along with this? You're not giving up anything. And Taylor thinks about it and is like, if we did this, my hold over my territory would completely collapse. I wouldn't be able to impress Coil, and my plan to rescue Dinah would be destroyed. Her plan, such as it is. And she murmurs, no. And Gru picks up on it and says no more loudly. And Coil seems surprised that they're doing this. And Trickster and Gru are like, we'll help against the 9, but we will not concede to that. And so then there's a bunch of arguing. And Taylor says to Miss Militia, hey, this isn't what we need. Hookwolf's made this about territory. This needs to be about the 9. I have people depending on me, and I'm not going to let Hookwolf prey on them. Is there anything you can do? And Miss Militia proposes a compromise whereby everyone here stays in a neutral location. And everyone's like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. We'll be too easy a target. We can't trust each other because a lot of people here have been recruited by the 9, and they might turn on their potential rivals to prove their worth. And Coil's like, yeah, I can trust the Protectorate to guard like 9 people. I can't trust them to guard all of us. So Hookwolf's like, yeah, this compromise doesn't work. I guess the Travelers and the Undersiders won't agree to our terms. Everyone else, will you stand with me? And they say yes, except for Faultline, who wants to be paid first, but then she says yes. And Miss Militia's like, yeah, I mean, I guess we can have a truce. We won't attack you while you're fighting the 9, but, you can't give us a reason to either. So they all kind of push the Travelers and Undersiders kind of out of the group. And Hookwolf's like, nobody wants to break the peace on neutral ground, so perhaps you all should leave. And Tattletale's like, you want us to leave before getting our information? She looks at Faultline, the smart thing to do. But no one's taking her up on it. And so they get in their boat and they leave. The end.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Really interesting political dynamics chapter.
Yeah.
Taylor says at one point, I didn't mention it specifically, but that, Hookwolf is manipulating everyone the way that Kaiser would have. He's way less subtle about it than Kaiser would have been, but it's still working.
Yeah.
Everyone, I guess, is alarmed enough by the way the Undersiders and the Travelers are trying to take over the city that no one's like, hang on, Hookwolf, you're doing this deliberately. No one really calls him on it.
Right. Yeah, the comparison to the Summers Rock meeting at the beginning of Arc 5 is really apt. And it was funny to me. I was taking some notes on Hookwolf, and then Taylor just comes out and says it all in the chapter, right?
Yeah.
He's just being very direct. He doesn't have a knack for this like Kaiser does. The jockeying is way out in the open, right? The Summers Rock chapter ends with and everybody was in agreement, but I knew that, they were just looking for the opportunity to stab each other in the back. And this time they're like, yeah, we all want to stab each other in the back, but we're gonna, so let's see what kind of peace we can hash out. And the moment that jumped out to me is after Hookwolf makes his case, we get Skidmark is really angry. Mm-hmm. Purity is really angry. And they are both also, like Hookwolf, not as smart and savvy.
No. They're not smart enough to see through Hookwolf is the problem.
Yeah. They're more easily led. They're less prepared for the meeting. They're probably more emotional. So just this kind of threat that they present, oh my gosh, there is an Undersiders Travelers conspiracy, is so threatening. And the fact that they didn't know it coming into the meeting, they're all immediately oh my god, okay, well, we gotta kind of get with the program here.
Yeah.
I feel I was trying to think about what is the essential difference here, and going back to the Summers Rock meeting again, right? It's kind of the same thing. It's the ABB are out of control. Mm-hmm. This whole Bakata situation is out of control, so we have to band together. And they leave with the compromise where they're going to, they'll team up and they'll work together until the ABB is finished. So, what's the difference, right? There are a lot of differences. One, I think, is there was definitely a Coil Kaiser back channel. Right? Mm-hmm, we had the whole thing with Hookwolf and Bitch come up where the Undersiders got kind of thrown under the bus in that meeting.
Yeah. But
we kind of thought maybe that Coil knew that Kaiser was going to have Hookwolf raise it, and it was all very well negotiated. Coil's the one who pays Faultline's crew. He's in touch with the heroes. Mm-hmm. We learned with the doxing in Arc 7 that Kaiser and Coil are communicating, and Kaiser was kind of content to not tell his minions that the Undersiders weren't responsible for that, right, in the moment. And the lack of a back channel now means that all of these people who are really, really, really new to being in charge or big players on the scene just don't have control over the situation.
Right.
And
with everything else in the city, the infrastructure is gone.
Yeah. And even on the hero side, Miss Militia is stepping to the front for the first time ever. Because Armsmaster, I mean, he's quote unquote retired. He's also in the middle of dying right now. But this is her first time stepping out as I am the face of the Protectorate. And obviously the heroes weren't at the Summers Rock meeting. But you have a bunch of lieutenants who are new to this.
Yeah.
Faultline and Coil.
And Coil's in a really difficult position because he cannot side with his minions and give himself away. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't expecting this, it seems like.
Right.
So he hasn't given them instructions. I do assume that Tattletale is able to read something of what he wants. So I kind of think this probably is what he wants and he just can't show it. unclear. He might be really mad about this, but like they were just in a tough situation. And yeah, he can't reasonably expect them to obey him in that kind of setting without giving him away.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to ask your thoughts on is, do you think Coil is here in both of his timelines using his power in this scene?
I was wondering about that.
Or do you think he would have stayed behind?
Oh.
Because there are pros and cons, right?
This meeting is too important for him to not be there.
Yeah.
In any timeline. Like,
yeah.
If it gets attacked, like, I guess there's a chance that it gets blown up with a bomb or something. But, like, if they get attacked, he can split the timeline again at that point.
Yeah.
And take two different strategies, and hopefully he survives in one. I think that there would be really no advantage to him, barring the, like, I guess, nuclear bomb scenario, which is pretty unlikely. There would be no advantage to him in having a timeline where he doesn't go to this important villain meeting.
Yeah.
And I think he probably did split the timeline and try two different strategies.
Yeah. The other factor is we know he doesn't have confidence from Dinah.
Right. He doesn't have any information there.
So
that's
that
really
would make
tough.
him more paranoid, but it would also probably, I think, mean he needs the confidence that comes from his power. He's going to keep his power closer at hand.
Right.
It would be driving him up the wall to have a timeline split that was like 2 hours long when he doesn't know.
Yes,
he has to commit at the
yeah.
last minute to, being behind in his bunker or whatever.
Right. I think he needs to be there either way. But I do assume, that this was the better outcome somehow, at least in the short term. I mean, he can't really see the long term yet, obviously. I'm
glad that you think this, because I wanted to point out some things in the chapter which are like maybe evidence of him using his power.
Oh, yeah?
Right. It's impossible, right? Unlike Taylor's dream, we don't have any indication externally when Coil's using his power. But there were a couple of moments in the conversation when Taylor says, after some deliberation, Coil said, whatever. And what I'm thinking is Coil must say stuff, get some kind of input about how people are feeling, right? Like,
and then cancel that timeline.
Until he arrives at, like, he's probably just going through a couple of different options until he gets to the one that is
that must be how he does
relatively
this kind of
conservative, optimal. And he even arrives fashionably late, which is another one of those things where, like, it could be flair for theatrics, it's a power play.
To get information.
Or he shows up, he sees who's there, who's not there, he asks a few questions, and then he cancels that timeline, and then, he can do that. Right, so he does have some tactics he can use to figure out the situation, even though he doesn't have Dinah, and even though he's maybe putting himself at risk by being here in both timelines.
Right.
So I do think that's what's going on, and then I feel like it's telling the moments that he feels least in control are, one, the series of no's from Taylor and Gru, where Coil is like, no, and he sounds a little surprised and a little angry. And then when Faultline is like, oh yeah, but you still have to pay us, and Coil sounds exasperated.
Yeah.
I was like, because at this point I feel like he's seen some ways that it could go bad, and he's like, yeah, okay, this is what I got, this is okay, right? Like, this outcome is okay, but, like, I'm really annoyed.
No, I think the exasperation thing is that in several other of his timelines, like, earlier on, when he was, like, trying different conversational gambits, Faultline was like, but I need to be paid. He's like, yeah, I know, of course. You told me 5 times.
No, that's better. That's really, really funny.
I don't think that applies to the no's from Taylor and Gru, but that might be genuine surprise, but then for some reason he keeps that timeline because it's better than his alternative.
Right. And, narratively, right, it feels super important that Taylor find her voice in this meeting, right? Mm-hmm. She is not a new lieutenant the way others are. In fact, Gru, right, he was at the table the first time around.
That's true.
And now he's still here and Kaiser isn't, right?
Super established. He hasn't been super established in the scene.
Yeah, but he does, right? Like, I feel like his rep grows by default, and the Undersiders are one of the scariest gangs in town. So, like, he's a big deal, right? And Taylor saying no and Gru picking up on it as the official seat at the table is like really important, you know, for Taylor and the Undersiders, like having agency in this moment. So like, it's interesting that it seems like it's antagonizing Coil, or like not maybe what he wanted, but it feels very important that Taylor say something. And then again, she makes that bid to Miss Militia, where she's exerting some influence. Like, she's not stepping out in front of them and saying like, here's what I think we should do, everyone.
No, that was really cool.
The fact that she is making some moves compared to like, you know, just what she was doing when she was Insinuation Taylor previously, but also compared to like the Taylor who doesn't do anything, right? Like this is definitely...
Well, she has this incredible, like a hot poker at her back of like Dinah's situation. And everything she thinks about in this chapter is related to that, really.
Yeah.
She's like, but if I lose my territory, I won't be able to impress Coil, and then I won't be able to save Dinah. She's like, I have limited patience for this because it's just so clear to me that what she's doing right now is not a way to save Dinah, and she has had no good plan to save Dinah this entire time.
Yeah.
But that is driving her so hard. It's this like obsession that she's made that this her singular purpose, and that does push her in ways that she wasn't being pushed before.
Yeah, I mean, I want to read some of what Taylor's thoughts are. Coil's response got me off guard. He was throwing us to the wolves to maintain his anonymity and things. I felt my heart sink. It made sense on a basic level, and I could see why the other groups were agreeing. I mean, our territory wasn't worth risking the world ending. Coil was apparently willing to delay his plans, or pretend to delay his plans while he carried them out in secret, but I would be giving up my territory. Condemning Dinah to more days, more weeks of captivity. I really didn't like that idea. And then she thinks later, it would mean that my plan to efficiently seize the boardwalk and surrounding docks would fall apart. I wouldn't be able to offer exemplary service to earn Coil's trust and respect in the mess that ensued. The opportunity to free Dinah.
It's funny, she thinks the world ending, like, our territory isn't worth that, but then she does basically think, like, saving Dinah is worth destroying the world.
The thing that I want to point out here is, as much as she is focused on Dinah, there's a part of me that is maybe tempted to say, like, you know, like, Taylor isn't thinking this through, and, like, she's being foolish. But I feel like the more interesting, characterful interpretation of this beat is more she's lying to herself. Not that she doesn't want to free Dinah, but...
That's not her main reason or only reason.
It's tied up in pride over what she is doing.
Yeah.
That she thinks about, like, okay, well, all of this stuff that I'm doing, right? Dinah is like her justification for her seizing territory and being in charge, but I feel like part of her...
That's such a good point.
Either likes it or doesn't want to,
right now.
to give up that part of it, right?
This is what she's doing on the day-to-day. It's what it's giving her life meaning right now. You're so right that I do think Dinah is an obsession, and Dinah is also an excuse.
Yeah.
As long as she can say she's doing it to save Dinah, she can justify all the morally shady, outside the law things that she's doing.
Yeah, and...
That she wants to be doing, because she likes being a supervillain.
We get an update on her status quo emotional state when she's on the boat, where she's like, you know what? I can accept in this moment that there's nothing I can be doing right now on this boat to save Dinah, so, like, maybe I can just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, I love this for Taylor. She talks about all of her anxieties that she used to have about her family and her, you know,
major anxiety disorder going on.
The bullies, right? You know, everything that was going on, and how all of that has fallen away, and she's been noticing herself just like feeling weirdly calm and not anxious at all. And so I'm so happy for her, but the way that she felt in Arc 7 when she learned about Dinah was like a complete emotional overwhelm about how any second she remains captive is a second too long. And so for her to have settled for this status quo feels a little bit like she's in an emotional state that feels like a bit of a trap. Similar to her saying to Charlotte
tangle.
last chapter, you get used to it,
Uh-huh.
right? Here it's a little bit of like, it's almost validating like Gru's perspective of like, you don't overreact. Like, obviously the Dinah thing sucks, but like, you just get used to it, right? And like, I wonder to what extent, she has, of course, this urgency, and that urgency is motivating her to act in a certain way. And like, I'm not trying to say that she doesn't deeply feel that sense of urgency, but I do wonder if she's really not acknowledging how much she's sort of enjoying.
I do think that's
her
true.
Current position.
I think one thing she's working really hard at is not letting herself become inured to the Dinah thing.
Yeah.
Like, she's working really hard to keep it as this prod.
Yeah.
To not just accept it. But I think you absolutely have a point that it is an excuse for her doing this work that she enjoys otherwise.
It's also so funny because we keep being hard on her, like, okay, so like even with the Dinah thing out of the picture, you still are on board with Coil, right? And then in this chapter, she's like so offended at the idea that the other villains are mad that they're taking over the city. And then at some point she's like, okay, but admittedly that is what we're trying to do. And like dealing with the local heroes is one of our long-term goals for Coil's plan. We were fighting for Coil's plan, and Coil wasn't helping. He remained silent, inscrutable, sticking to the situation that worked best for him and him alone. Damn him. It's so ironic if this is the kind of thing that like turns her more actively against Coil, right? She's like
He's
annoyed.
not sticking up for us.
yeah, it's really funny.
I do think one thing that's going on with Taylor in this chapter, and I mean with the Undersiders and the Travelers in general, it's not necessarily that they're choosing their territory over saving the world. It's that they are refusing to let the other villains use that sort of outsized threat to bully them.
Exactly.
And that's a completely reasonable thing to do. It's like, well, if saving the world is so important, then why do you care if we're getting territory while it happens?
Exactly.
I've said hypocritical. It's completely hypocritical. Everyone's falling for it. So frustrating. This is not like my major button, but it's like adjacent to it of like, there is injustice happening.
It is. It's honestly a little bit of like the Summers Rock meeting and the principal's office scene squished together.
Absolutely, right? It is. That's so true.
But the part that really got to me was... So, like, one, it's really funny that Faultline and Tattletale are sniping at each other, calling each other stupid in their little monologues. But Faultline says, don't be stupid. You can't put money, power, and control at a higher priority than our collective survival. If Coil's precog is right...
You guys are.
We have to band together against the Nine the same way we would against an Endbringer. For the same reasons. And she's like, but I gotta get paid.
That's so true.
So
oh my
funny.
God, that's
right,
so funny.
She
didn't show up at the Endbringer fight.
No, I mean, they were doing the Shamrock,
That's true, they probably were in town, but...
I wouldn't imply that they would expect payment to show up to an Endbringer fight, but it is really funny.
But you're right, it's totally hypocritical.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, well, you have to give up your territory for this. We're giving up nothing. We're in fact getting this huge advantage by you all giving up your territory.
Yeah.
It's just that they all want that, and so they all agree to it together, and Miss Militia doesn't have the power to change it. So
and it is right. Again, the Kaiser and Coil are both happy to work together because they both believe very strongly that they will win over the other one eventually.
Right.
Is a much more like stable political situation than, okay, well, Hookwolf and Purity hate each other, but,
they're jockeying for like the same people.
Right. But like Hookwolf, Purity, and Skidmark are sort of like, I don't know, they're like, forming a little parliament of villains here. But it's like it doesn't make sense for it to be a full alliance because it is... Right.
They don't like each other. Like they're...
The writing's
enemies.
on the wall. Maybe parliament isn't the best analogy, but it's almost like a board game or something. It's like once you learn that two players have a secret alliance and then everybody can see that they're poised to win, it's like kind of the only rational strategy is for to ice them out. And then, if there are some board games, like the Game of Thrones board game has a like, oh, well, the White Walkers are going to invade. And so there is kind of a collective action problem baked into the game, right? Yeah. But like, I don't know. The revealing a secret alliance in terms of like sitting around a table playing a board game.
It was such a good move on Hookwolf's part. Yeah.
Is a great emotional play.
A good and scummy move. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what happens next. I mean, obviously I need to predict it. So this whole alliance has a truce to fight the Slaughterhouse Nine. Presumably, they aren't going to have the energy to fight the Undersiders and the Travelers at the same time. And the sort of above board situation is, well, we'll fight the Slaughterhouse Nine, but then, we'll probably win or at least survive. And then we'll turn on all of you guys who weren't with us. Like, you've just earned our enmity for not siding with us. That doesn't seem like that terrible a situation for the Undersiders and the Travelers if that's how it goes, because the major downsides are, well, their alliance is now public, but Hookwolf knew about it, so, it was going to get out. And the Slaughterhouse Nine are much less likely to get taken down. They don't even have a protagonist on their side anymore. But also, like, Tattletale has a lot of information. It could have been really helpful. 3 of the people who are trying to be recruited are in that group of Undersiders and Travelers. And whatever's going to happen next when everyone turns on them, probably not great. The bigger danger, I think, is if, as I sort of expect to happen, Hookwolf and co. do not focus all their energies on the Slaughterhouse Nine, because if they were going to do that, why bring up this whole territory thing in the first place? And either Hookwolf has decided he wants to join, or some others among them will decide that they want to join, and this is going to get really messy.
Interesting. If Hookwolf wants to join, what's changed in his mind since the end of his chapter?
I mean, I don't know, maybe he's decided he can, do both. That doesn't seem likely. Nah. It doesn't seem likely to me that he has, honestly, because he kind of cares about having these people who are his people, and I could see him also caring about not having his city taken over, and that being this real beef that he has, that he's willing to, sacrifice some of this fight against the Slaughterhouse Nine to do. Maybe because he's overconfident that, we can beat the Slaughterhouse Nine without these guys.
Yeah. I mean, I think, right, the territory situation is basically the Undersiders and Travelers have claimed all of the city, more or less. Or 80% of the city.
Is the city
right?
bigger than that? Taylor's territory is almost the size of the range of her power.
I guess, yeah. But I mean, a lot of the city is broken by Leviathan. There's probably areas that are less valuable.
Right,
but
and some areas are probably bigger than Taylor's territory. The boardwalk seems like pretty good territory, so maybe it's a smaller
My
version.
understanding of Coil's plan is that once the Undersiders and the Travelers have successfully consolidated their territory, there will be no room for the Chosen, the Pure,
I think,
and the Merchants in Brockton Bay. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of the level that they're operating at, right? So it's what Trickster and Gru acknowledge is actually we have staked out a huge territorial claim. And they're right not to back down, but I think the others are also, by the same logic, right to not say, well, that's,
good luck, boys, whatever, yeah.
Right, so I feel like the status quo has to be wherever the Chosen are, if they're active in Gru's territory and Regent's territory, they're still going to be fighting Gru and Regent at the same time that the Slaughterhouse Nine are in town. How can they
fight Gru and Regent at the same time as the Slaughterhouse Nine? They...
Yeah, but I mean, it's the territory remains contested. What that means in practice, right? Who knows?
I'll be curious to see what Coil says to them after this meeting.
Oh, for sure.
Coil also potentially has a lot of information from Tattletale about the Slaughterhouse Nine already. I don't know what conversations they've had, but anything that Tattletale can figure out, Coil can get, so Coil is not worried about not having that voice in the conversation.
Right. Someone on Discord pointed out that Tattletale somehow figured out that Hatchetface was dead, even though the information they stole from PRT headquarters included Hatchetface in their database of current members.
Oh.
So they definitely do know some stuff that...
Didn't Coil tell them that Hatchetface was dead?
I thought we knew Hatchetface was dead because there was an X over his face in Tattletale's conspiracy bunker.
Oh, maybe Coil got the information from her?
But how effectively can Coil be oh, I know that they targeted Regent without revealing that
No, that's fair. Right. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Regent and Bitch, but the Undersiders don't know that except for Bitch, have been targeted, and I mean, I guess also Noelle, but that's less relevant because she couldn't be reached.
No one knows about Noelle.
That's true.
At least it's clear from this meeting that no one knows.
Well, except for Coil and the Travelers. But the fact that two of the potential recruits are in the Undersiders. Like, they're gonna get pulled in, and it's just that they don't have a truce with everyone else. Is it just gonna be, like, 3 factions fighting each other? Like, that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I guess, what you're getting at is, like, when push comes to shove, if Hookwolf and Trickster
are facing
run into each other against Burnscar...
They're not gonna also fight each other, presumably.
Right.
That would be dumb.
Yeah, well, I guess
they're
we'll
just
see.
weakening their own side by not being willing to let these guys be involved without ceding their territory.
Yeah. It does seem kind of petty.
Oh, yeah. And like you were saying, these people are not good at being in charge.
The Slaughterhouse 9, right, they're saying it's like an Endbringer, but, like, no one seems to really think it's like an Endbringer.
I feel like maybe if Miss Militia were a little more willing to take initiative and, like, put her foot down, a little more confident in her authority at this point. Like, I feel like Colin wouldn't have let this stand. Like, she'd be like, hey, no truce unless, like, you guys are all actually united. If you're going to let these, like, petty territory squabbles keep you from facing off against the Slaughterhouse 9, then, we're not willing to...
Right, maybe there would be some advantage to be played there. Miss Militia is so funny to me, because, like, her pitch... is just as dead on arrival as keeping all the Undersiders and Travelers in a
when
hotel.
She said it, I was like, it's going to be Camp Cape. I was so excited. I was like, let's put them all in a hotel. It's a reality show.
Parahuman Olympic Village.
Great.
Like...
Yes. I mean, what a setup for stories. Get all of the capes in one building together.
Yeah. That's a great what if.
Roommates.
Fic. Yeah.
Oh, I want to write that one.
I love it.
They'd have to be slightly different characters. I think they would all just kill each other.
It's just, I feel like Miss Militia's like, I can sort of see the value here, but I also feel like the heroes are just getting the status quo, right? Like, coming into this, they want intel. Mm-hmm. But whether the villains are trucing up or not, the heroes still plan to fight all of them. Like, they don't really care about the result of this.
We won't actively interfere with you fighting the Slaughterhouse 9,
right, so I think Miss Militia is trying to say, like, I agree this isn't fair. Well, here's the thing that would be fair. And wouldn't it be great if all of the evil capes just put themselves in jail for us? Right? Like, sure. Like, let's see if that'll work. Oh, well,
Actually, that's a great point. Yeah, it probably is, like, a bit of a swing there. That's really funny. Yeah,
like, it's like they're not going to, as soon as they get them all in the building, just, like, drop, steel bars around the whole thing and say, okay, good luck, you guys.
Seriously, it's not an Endbringer truce, so it's not, protected in the same way.
Yeah.
Okay, but speaking of the heroes being really good at stuff, Weld! Wow. Our boy Weld!
Yes.
See, this is why I would date him.
Yes. It's so good. It's so good. He's so smart, and he clearly figures it out in the moment. He gets out his phone and, Googles some stuff.
You know how he was sitting down with those files and, I really need to, do my homework.
Yeah.
He did his homework on this city. I don't think this is the first he's heard of Dinah Alcott. I think he was just wait, I know of something. There was, a precog who went missing.
Yeah, and it also kind of implies that he wasn't read in on the end of the world prophecy yet. Miss Militia is you told us that. And, maybe they would have said, this is some crank thing or whatever. But I feel
she didn't inform the wards or the leader of the wards.
Weld had a chance now to put some pieces together. It's give that guy a promotion.
Good.
He's great.
Oh, my God. It's Coil shows up with, some prophecy. He's like, I know who you have in your basement.
Yeah.
And also Coil's lie, which clearly he had prepared. Uh-huh. And Taylor's like, wow, it's amazing how smoothly he lies. And, it's definitely not fully convincing.
No, it's a bald-faced lie.
Yeah.
He lies well, but it's not plausible.
Right. It's the kind of thing where you're like, I can't prove that you're not telling the truth, but really? This 12-year-old agreed voluntarily to let you help her manage her power, and that requires her to cut off contact with her family and friends.
And it would hurt really bad if I even got her on the phone, because we wouldn't want to hurt her power.
That Coil doesn't want to set her back or hurt her.
Oh my God, what an asshole!
I mean, Taylor is right about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if him opposing the Undersiders and the Travelers in this meeting was an asshole move because probably he has his reasons. But
well, okay, so if the Undersiders and the Travelers agree to get put up.
We need a shorter
at Protectorate HQ.
We need a shorter term for them.
Okay.
The
Coil's minions?
Traversiders.
Traversiders?
No, I mean, the thing is, they're not one group, but they are Coil's minions.
The Undulers?
The Undulers? I like the Undulers. Okay. If the Undulers, go on. If they agree to be put up at PHQ
in PHQ Hotel, right. Why is that better from Coil's perspective?
Well, not that that specific outcome would be better, but that he doesn't want to give himself away by appearing to be on their side.
Yeah.
And perhaps he tried, in his alternate timelines, proposing compromises that would be good for his minions, the Undulers, but no one was really buying them.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, okay, that's not working. It's not worth people suspecting our association for a plan that no one's willing to agree with, so he's just opposing it.
I wonder, I'm trying to think through this. My pitch is that Coil, selfishly but genuinely, cares a lot more about the long term in this moment. Right? So he might agree that, okay, this sets back my Undersiders Travelers territory grab plan.
But I don't want the world to end in 2 years.
But perhaps indefinitely. But I don't want the world to end in 2 years. I think the number one priority, like he says in the meeting, is I want all 40 capes here to be trying to kill Jack Slash, right? Like that seems to be the thing that he's most invested in.
Yeah.
And I think,
that's giving him a lot of credit, but that's reasonable. He is someone who thinks long term. His whole plan is long term.
Right. So I do wonder if that's like, he kind of wants them to be compliant and, kind of do what he says. Cause it's like, oh, well, like maybe some of them get arrested or like could be bad, but he's like, well, I can always help them out, or maybe they won't be useful to me. So like, who cares? I can find another, 9 capes or whatever, right? Like, obviously to him, the most important thing is
preventing the end of the world. Yeah, but they have the cover of, well, we know you were pretending not to be associated with us, so we didn't assume you were giving us real orders. And in fact, that is even true. Like, they don't know he's giving them real orders.
Right. And the catalyst for Gru and Trickster to, maybe they had discussed stuff coming into it or maybe not. I feel like the vibe I get is really just they size each other up in the moment and are both kind of like reading the room that it would be dumb to say yes to this.
This is BS, yeah.
But Taylor is the catalyst for that, right? She is the one who pushes them to say no. And we know from Taylor, it's like she doesn't want to lose her territory and she's got to be in her bonnet about Dinah.
Yeah.
And like those are the things that are actually driving the schism here.
The thing is, though, they're all actually really weak in their territory right now because they're alone.
Yeah.
Like any single one of them could be opposed by the right combination of capes, and now everyone's massed against them. So this is actually a really bad situation.
Yeah. Certainly if you're going to be picking off the Undlers one by one, they are at a very, very weak point in their territory grab right now.
Yes, they've just started. Yeah, really bad timing, or good timing from Hookwolf. So yeah, this doesn't look great for our villain heroes. I guess we'll see where it goes.
While we're talking about the sort of Cape quarantine thing, I don't even know if Hookwolf really thinks they're going to agree to it. Like, I think Coil wants them to once it's on the table, but it feels dead on arrival. Like, no one's going to agree to this. Like, we'll just sit in a room and do nothing until this is over with.
Yeah, absolutely not.
But that makes sense because Hookwolf wants to get all this stuff out in the open and then consolidate control.
Yes.
And this is a very good opportunity for a few of these secrets to kind of get thrown out there so that...
And I do think, actually, the fact that he cares so much about this does make me think he's not joining the Slaughterhouse 9 because he wants control of the city. Yeah.
And, like, I also love the moment when Hookwolf is like, oh my god, Coil has a precog, of course. Right? It's like, because now he's going to be thinking like, oh man, the only reason I've been losing to this guy is because he's cheating, right? Like, it kind of makes Coil seem less impressive, right? It's very, very funny. Did Coil's understanding of the Jack Slash thing feel like it was basically your understanding? I wasn't sure if this concretely, like, Jack kills, talks to, meets, or influences someone being a catalyst for the end of the world. Like, we sort of knew that already, right?
Kind of. I am concerned about the Theo thing because I think he might already have met and talked to that person.
So that
I wonder how recently Coil checked in with Dinah before her powers got screwed up about
that would
like
be so awful.
Yeah, have the odds changed? Like, if we kill Jack before he leaves the city, maybe at this point it doesn't matter anymore.
Right, because they had that conversation before the Theo thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that even if Jack
yet.
dies now, something that happened in that chapter could still be a catalyst.
Although, if Jack dies, it's true. If Jack dies now, Theo doesn't try to kill him in 2 years, so...
Right, the threat is gone. But
Right.
that's fascinating that we don't know.
We did have the thought that, or at least I did, I guess, you already know what happens, that possibly if Theo fails, what Jack does to kill the, 1,000 people, including him or whatever, is the thing that, oops, ends the world.
Yeah.
Kills all these people. And apparently no. Apparently Jack does not himself do the thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. But it kills, right? It's one of the things. He kills someone that sets off a chain of events. He meets someone who sets off a chain of events.
Okay, so maybe one of those people
or...
he kills is the reason.
Well, right, but yeah.
But it's not like he unleashes a plague and oops, it kills most people.
Yeah.
So that possibility seems to have been ruled out by this conversation.
Yeah.
But I still think it's about the Theo thing because those time frames matching otherwise seems like too big a coincidence.
Right.
So something's already been set into motion. I don't know if Jack / dying at this point would stop it. Maybe it would.
Yeah, and Dinah's not going to be able to help us.
No, not for a long time.
Yeah.
Because they just had to save their lives, I guess. I mean, she would probably have been dead if she hadn't done that, but...
Do you think Taylor will give Miss Militia any credit? Or will she just be annoyed because it was a bad play?
I think she will give her credit for, at least being reasonable to deal with. Miss Militia did listen to her. Think, okay, she's kind of right, and put something forward. It was in good faith. It just was a bad idea.
Because I feel like this puts Taylor... She's, so cynical about all the heroes that she has to be better than, up against Taylor, who's okay, I'm standing near to Miss Militia. I could have her say something. And it was just her instinct to reach out and use someone who's nearby. And then she's and then she starts to say I can't lose my territory. I mean, I have people who are depending on me. Will you please? I mean,
I think that's true.
Right, but that's just another moment where her initial, I think maybe more true thing is just this is bad for me. Yeah. And then she thinks about it and it's actually, okay, no, I care about the people in my territory.
Yeah.
Which it is true. Name. It is true, but yeah.
I was so bummed that they went out on a lake and Taylor never used any crabs.
She thought about it.
Oh, did she? I missed it.
Yeah, when she gets startled and the heroes are coming, she's I reached out for the local crabs and the swarm that I had kept in the boat.
Oh my god, I missed the crabs. Okay, I must have been distracted.
I'm really sad that
I was
the
really
rooftop
excited.
Didn't get overwhelmed with crabs.
I was really excited by the heroes showing up because I had predicted that.
Yeah.
And so I must have missed the crabs because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, speaking of the building, it is a really cool spot. Right, it's a part of the city. It didn't even exist before the Endbringer attack. It's obvious neutral ground. And in theory, it's a reminder to everybody of the stakes of a city-ending cataclysm. And yet, they still are petty and they squabble. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just had a couple of fun little cape things. Right, Victor and Othala create fireballs together. Right, Othala reaches out and touches Victor, and then he goes foom, foom, foom to do the signaling mechanism. And I don't think we know too much about their deal. Othala is somebody who can also
a healer, but
heal people.
Maybe not all that she does.
Right. So that's very interesting. I loved Knight stepping out of the lake, having just been an evil lake monster. Knight is so creepy in a wonderful way. Mm-hmm. I also love Squealer and her stealth yacht.
Yes.
Right, so her powers vehicles, but also maximalism, right? I love this thing where presumably she was okay, I have tinkered this yacht straight out of Mad Max Fury Road. It's so obnoxious and loud. It sounds like a train, it has electricity arcing everywhere. And, it needs a stealth module. Well, I can't do that, but I can tinker a giant box that makes it stealthy, right? So it's she just adds another thing on top, right? Yes. I imagine that this must be the rule by which her power operates. Of I can do two big things that cancel each other out, but I can't,
Can't do a small thing.
Yeah. And yeah, I loved Taylor being judgy. Like, she dresses trashy, but isn't even, attractive.
Yeah.
Like, classic
she just
Taylor.
is trashy and dresses trashy.
Right.
Yeah.
Unlike Aisha, who at least is pretty underneath.
She's pretty and dresses trashy. If you're pretty, you're not trashy.
Yeah. Classic Taylor.
Yeah. What does trashy mean, Taylor? Define it for me.
Oh, yeah. So we mentioned Taylor is sort of enjoying herself and feeling free at the beginning of the chapter. I wanted to go back and bring up how she puts it in the context of like, you know what? I kind of like thrills, unlike my nerd parents who just wanted to go to museums all the time.
Introverts.
Yeah.
Therefore never took me on a boat.
Yeah, but I mean, but that feels like it's such a good reminder of her being a teenager and like, especially a teenager in a city, right? Like, I feel like you sort of travel around and you get in your routine. It's like, okay, the stuff that takes you to school or like maybe the one place that you go with your friends or something. And then at some point realizing like, oh, with freedom of movement, I can do whatever I want. And actually just sitting around outside in a city or like going to a beach or like just like normal stuff that you can do
it's
is
true.
so
That's not
appealing.
really a child thing. Yeah, you
even
don't have
if
that freedom.
it's, you know, it's like, it's not like Danny doesn't like going to the beach. It's just he's got a lot going on, you know?
Maybe he doesn't like going to the beach.
That's true.
I don't know.
Of course. It could be that she's a little more extroverted than her parents, but I thought it was really
but
funny.
Also, being extroverted and going to the beach are in no way connected. Like, introvert doesn't mean you want to stay in your house all the time.
That's fair. Yeah, she's conflating the personality trait with just like being a thrill seeker. What she's acknowledging
more
at this
adventurous,
moment is
maybe.
that she likes thrills, which I think does not surprise me. And she connects it also to like, feel like I was destined to fly. You know, even though I didn't get that power, and the one time I flew, it kind of sucked.
Yeah, I mean, it is really not the same. Flying versus being carried by someone who is flying and who is like struggling to carry you and you just broke your arm, as she points out.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually didn't even think of this reading it. I so want her to use the bugs to learn how to fly. She has no limits on the number of bugs she can control. Surely there's a quantity of bugs that could support her weight.
Yeah.
She'll just bug surf.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, it'll be like a mosh pit.
Yep. Yeah. I love it. I love it. And yeah, she has this comment that like that one awful day fighting Leviathan feels like a dream, which again, just makes sense.
Yeah, except that she's still living with the consequences.
She's also comparing this to like when she's talking about her anxieties. Everything had been tainted by the constant worries and the fact that I'd constantly been preparing for the worst case scenarios and maybe even setting up self-fulfilling prophecies in the process.
Yeah.
And I was like, oof, Amy.
Ooh, yeah.
I think we made that comparison in the Amy
self-fulfilling
chapter
prophecy,
as well.
absolutely the right description for her thing. Yeah, yeah.
Like, chapter 1 Taylor is basically where Amy seems to be as of her interlude.
Do you think if the Slaughterhouse 9 had shown up in chapter 1, they would have recruited Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Nice.
I think so. I would be shocked if there is not already a fic with that premise, but I think it's a strong premise.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree. I'm not sure that her level of frustration with the bullies is equivalent to like what Amy's going through with like her suppressed desires and agony about needing to heal her father, but her fear of what she'll do if she does. Like that feels like a different level of psychological agony. But
yes.
Yeah. But I do like the idea that...
But could she be in the top 7, you know, as of the first chapter?
That's possible,
It's
yes.
possible.
Yeah.
She even thinks at one point, all of this was before I'd decided to go villain. Which is such interesting phrasing. Because I'm kind of like...
Did you decide
that?
She did. She decided it kind of on the floor of her father's kitchen.
But she didn't say, I'm deciding to be a villain. She's saying... I am a villain already, right? Like that's
true.
What she realized that she's a villain. She didn't decide
it before she did it. She decided after she did it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but again, I feel like a lot of
retroactively
Taylor in this arc is sort of like the way that she's retelling her own story to herself.
Yeah. Well, book 1 is over. She can now retell it to herself.
Yeah. But it's sort of like her new identity is a lot more intentional in her mind than it was moment to moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. I had a realization.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, the reason that Coil, and this is, I think, what you were trying to get at, the reason that Coil wants to shut them all up in a hotel or whatever while the Slaughterhouse Nine are here is because he knows if they face the Slaughterhouse Nine, they'll die. And he's more interested in maintaining his carefully curated collection of minions. And
right, because their odds were so bad.
It's not that he's not interested in defeating the Slaughterhouse Nine, but he knows that his minions aren't going to do a good job of it because he asked Dinah. And he would much rather spend other villains who otherwise he'd have to defeat in some other way in order to do it.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, you guys want to pay with your money and protect my money for this whole thing? Yes, please.
That's a great point.
And his minions are like, nope. And he's like, oh, come on, guys. Try to keep you alive. You don't want that?
That's amazing.
I also realized that they basically get voted off the island.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. I don't think I have anything else. Do you want to get into...
I think there's going to be combat in the next chapter. I don't even know against whom. There's so many possibilities.
Okay. Well...
I think we're going to get a lot of intra-undersider, intra-undular discussions, hopefully.
Okay, yeah.
Which will be interesting because we haven't actually interacted that much with the Travelers, which could be fun.
And Coil's not there.
And Coil's not there.
Which is kind of fun.
And Bitch hasn't told anyone she was recruited.
Yeah.
And we haven't met her wolf yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot that could happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're going to get attacked by someone in the next chapter.
Pretty scary.
Are there any new cape names?
Well, there is a name that I wanted to read to you. Desecrated Monk.
This is going to be one of Bonesaw's creations.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a combination of someone who kind of like turns into a demon and, I don't know, a member of the Haven.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
And the chapter begins, fuck! Gru swore the second his boat
touched the shore.
Basically.
Yeah. And they're going to have a big conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. I can't wait.
Next time
on Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.